I don't think we've had a player of his quality for a very long time. He's absolute world elite, Ballon d'Or winner possibility. With these words, former English player Joe Cole delighted fans of the English national team, and he was speaking so complimentary about Jude Bellingham, who has started brilliantly at Madrid. This transfer is seen as one of the best in recent times, but let's agree, we didn't expect the 20-year-old Englishman to immediately become a leader for the Spanish club. To be honest, the newcomer benefited from the huge injury roster at the club. There is not a high-level center forward, so Ancelotti relied on Bellingham in attack and rebuilt the entire attacking game around him. Although on paper Jude is an attacking midfielder, in fact he constantly plays in the penalty area. He's the one they pass to, and he scores, on average once per game. It is a very interesting and so far very successful tactical experiment. If this continues, then in 2024, Bellingham will be among the main contenders for the Ballon d'Or. From a player at Borussia Dortmund to becoming the main player for the most famous club in the world, it's a real glow up. We are enjoying the rapid rise of this new megastar, and let's see for whom the upcoming months can also be breakthrough ones. These are the top 10 players who will blow up in the 23-24 season. This list will include both very young guys and those who we already know well. Let's look at those who will make people fall in love with football this year. Let's begin with Lamin Yamal. The guy turned 16 just 2 months ago, and he's already starting for the main squad of Barca in the current season. As we have mentioned before, Barca lacks explosive wingers. The departures of Dembele and Fati were not compensated by the signing of a similar player who can burst with speed and create danger. If the Frenchman had stayed, Yamal would occasionally come on as a sub, but circumstances turned out in such a way that the Spaniard became a starter at a very young age. On one hand, it's a huge emotional boost for the youngster. On the other, the situation is not entirely normal. A football player, no matter how talented he may be, should not carry such a burden of responsibility and physical stress at the age of 16. It can break him both mentally and physically. Such boys, so to speak, are not usually included in the lineup. They are given 15 or 20 minutes towards the end of the game or are released as starters in some cup games. But they are subbed around the 60th minute because their bodies are not yet ready for full loads. You might say that Barca started early with Pedri and Xavi, and you will be right, but not entirely. Pedri played 2,500 minutes in La Liga when he was 18. Xavi became a regular in the season after he turned 17, and Yamal has just turned 16. At such a young age, a difference of 1 or 2 years is significant. Nevertheless, despite all the concerns, we are currently seeing an inspired young player. Lamine is very creative, good on the ball, and seems even more technical than Raphinha. He is not afraid to take responsibility, asks for the ball, and is ready to carry it and come up with something. These qualities are highly appreciated by the coaches. Last week, in the match against Georgia, Lamine became the youngest player in the history of the Spanish national team, just 16 years and 57 days, and then also the youngest goal scorer. In this mode, when there is self-confidence in transitioning to a new level, a player should ideally progress quickly, and under the guidance of Xavi, he should improve his weak qualities. For now, he struggles with pressing and doesn't contribute defensively. And considering that Lewandowski also doesn't do this, Barca plays without the ball with only 9 players. However, Lamine has plenty of time, since by 2030 he will only be 22. In general, squad issues at Barca might make Yamal one of the youngest players in the history of a top club to be a regular starter. The main challenge here is to avoid injuries. Ninth place goes to Tottenham players. The Spurs continue to impress and can do so throughout the season. When the team plays great attacking football, like under Postecoglou, bright personalities always emerge. Yves Bissouma and James Maddison deserve an extra mention. Pedro Porro is also worth noting. As the right wingback, he delighted fans with his performances last spring, and in his first full season with the club, under an attacking coach, he should become a significant figure. But let's talk more about Maddison and Bissouma. The Malian midfielder was outstanding in the first games, excelling at escaping pressure and single-handedly advancing the ball. Tottenham bought Bissouma last summer. In the second half of the season, the player suffered a fractured ankle, but now he has become an integral part of the starting lineup, showcasing his best qualities. He's second in the team in who scores ratings, the best in the Premier League in interceptions, and the best in the Spurs squad in dribbles. In short, he is a midfield monster, and everyone will quickly forget about Herbert. Maddison, on the other hand, should be the star of this Tottenham team in attack. We have long awaited James' move to a more serious club, and so far he is living up to the boldest expectations. He fits the style of the new coach, and he has the strongest motivation. In terms of Maddison's growth in London, Leicester's relegation, which catalyzed the transfer, can even be called a positive event. James is currently the top-rated player in the Premier League according to Who Scored. He's second in the entire league in creating chances and goal-scoring opportunities. He's also one of the best in top 5 European leagues in shots on target and crosses. Maddison has all the qualities that the coach Postecoglou expects from an attacking midfielder: creativity, drive, and the ability to navigate between the lines. The Australian specialist is building a strong team structure, which means James won't be on his own. He won't be required to perform extraordinary wonders to keep the ball and contribute with goals. He will always have options to continue and sharpen his play because there is an attacking structure in place. The 26-year-old midfielder has found his football and will continue to showcase it. Place number 8. Here are the players from RB Leipzig, a team that underwent significant changes in the past off-season, and the investment in new players is starting to pay off. Louis Openda, but for almost 40 million, and Xavi Simons, taken on loan, are looking good. But first, let me talk about the player who is starting his third season at Leipzig, Mohamed Simakan. The young Frenchman previously played for German club as a right back and as a center back. Now, after the sale of Joško Gvardiol, he could become the leading center back of the team. He has versatile skills, his experience playing as a fullback is decent, so he handles the ball without any problems, which is important in initiating attacks. He could become a new star defender. As for Openda, he was the 4th top scorer in the League One last season. In the current season, he's one of the top 10 players in the top 5 European leagues in terms of shots on target. Openda is referred to as a substitute for Nkunku, but it's more about the status of the Frenchman, who was the main threat of RB's opponents and has nothing to do with the style of play. Let's see if the Belgian newcomer can improve his goal-scoring records in national championships. He has done it every year for the past 3 years, so he has been constantly progressing. And then there is Xavi Simons. The player with experience of playing at Barca and PSG is starting to make a name for himself in top leagues. He has great dribbling skills and a good shot. In general, he's someone who constantly seeks to make an impact. PSG used their option to buy out the 20-year-old Dutchman, but the player insisted on going on loan. And this is a great decision. In Leipzig, he's playing, and so far very successfully, 3+4 in the first 4 match days, while in Paris they couldn't resist making excessive attacking signings, in our opinion. So getting enough game time at PSG wouldn't have been possible for Simons, but now he's becoming a star in one of the leading leagues. Both the club and the Bundesliga as a whole seem to suit him very well, and there is also the Champions League, the first in his career, where RB Leipzig has a chance to make it out of the group stage. If the Dutchman can score in the UCL as well, he will become a full-fledged European star this season. Spot number 7. There is one person here. He alone cleans up the mess in the midfield of the French club. We're talking about Manuel Ugarte, who was purchased by PSG from Sporting last summer for 60 million. Initially, it was not quite clear how this defensive midfielder would fit in with Luis Enrique's plans. Surprisingly, the Uruguayan immediately integrated himself into the structure of the PSG. It turned out that his passing was at a good level, not quite of Sergio Busquets, but decent. And there were no doubts about his defensive skills. The era of variety in the club has come to an end, not the way the Italian would have liked. and the 22-year-old Ugarte seems to be a player with similar functionality, though he plays slightly lower than Marco. Verratti and Ugarte differ in height and style. However, like the Italian, the Uruguayan plays aggressively, tackles, passes, moves a lot, and puts in a lot of work. In short, he can do it all on the field. The board of the Parisian club once again raises many questions. There is an excess of attacking players and a shortage in the midfield. Ugarte alone balances this situation. He plays in the middle, covering, cleaning up. With Verratti's departure, Enrique currently has either teenagers or players clearly of a lower caliber as a replacement for Ugarte. So Manuel will play in all tournaments, and if he avoids injuries, PSG has acquired a new leader in their weak spot. The Thuram brothers, Marcus and Kipran, are not only making their way into the world of football, but also into our list. They inherited strong genes from their father, Lilian, a world champion and the one who scored a brace in the semi-final of France's first victorious World Cup. Now, his children are knocking on the door of the international football elite. A great story. Their father turned out to be very smart when it comes to building his sons' careers. He has the final say and carefully selects the next team for his boys, not based on factors like higher pay or status, but rather where they will get playing time and development. It's a progressive approach. Younger brother Kifran is a central midfielder. In 2019, he moved from the Monaco's youth team to Nice, where he has been improving year after year. He made his debut for the French national team in an official game in March 2023. In the current season, he is ranked second in the team according to who scored, number 2 in Nice for interception, and number 1 for key passes and dribbles. It's such an impressive combination. He could be the new Camavinga, no less. It is very likely that after this season, he will move to a big club. Older brother Marcus is more established. He recently moved from Borussia to Inter, where he immediately received an important role. The 192cm forward is expected to replace Lukaku and hopefully help fans forget about Dzeko as well. Marcus plays in a completely different style, but he has many good qualities. His combination of physical strength and dribbling ability, along with his ability to pass to his partner under pressure, stands out. The main downside is his finishing. In the last 2 seasons, he scored 2.5 to 4 goals in the Bundesliga less than the XG model predicted. Even now at Inter, he should have more goals, despite his excellent goal in the game against Milan. However, his assists have been consistent throughout his career. He has never had a disappointing season, which means that if there is an opportunity to assist, the older brother will take it. Hence, Inzaghi's logical idea to make his center forward to drop back and play with his teammates. Simone is polishing the aspect of the player's talent, and it's very smart, masking the weak points and making the strong ones shine. Let's see what comes out of it, but the coach will pay maximum attention to Marco's development. After all, 34-year-old Arnautovic cannot be seen as the real alternative. Thuram will surely get a lot of playing time. Fifth position for 2 players from Brighton. As I have mentioned before, teams with an attacking style of play always showcase more individual talent, and it is interesting to follow them. Last season, Caicedo and McAllister both emerged as stars, and now we predict success for Evan Ferguson and the rise to a new level of Kaoru Mitoma. We also wanted to include Julio Enciso, a 19-year-old attacking midfielder that Brighton bought a year ago and gradually integrated into the squad. But unfortunately, the Paraguayan, who scored 2 assists in the second round, tore his meniscus and most likely will not appear on the field in 2023. It's a pity, as he was clearly ready for a starting role. But let's turn our attention to those who are healthy. Kaoru Mitoma's name has been on everyone's radar for almost a year now. Since October 2022, he has been scoring goals in the Premier League. But now, he's becoming a true star of the league. With his speedy dribbling, he is the best in the current championship in terms of penetrating runs with the ball and the number 1 in the top 5 European leagues in actions leading to a goal. He tears through the flanks and feels like a leader for Brighton after the departure of McAllister and Caicedo. Clearly, this season Mitoma will become a class player. and will most likely move to a bigger club this summer. Let me tell you a bit more about Evan Ferguson, because for most of us, this is a new name. He is a centre forward from Ireland. Evan is 18 years old and the classic striker with a suitable height, 188 centimeters. He has progressed through all the Irish junior and youth teams and has been playing for the senior team since last fall. He has a good shot and finishing ability, but still needs to contribute more to his team's defensive actions. In 2021, Brighton won the battle for this youngster against Liverpool. Last season, Ferguson scored his first goal in the Premier League, and in 2023, he became the player who went up in price the most this year. In January, Transfermarkt valued him at 1 million, and now the figure has increased by 30 times. In the fourth round of the current Premier League, Evan scored a hat-trick against Newcastle. We're closely monitoring this young man. His progress is really impressive. Fourth place is for tiny positivity at Chelsea. We are waiting for a breakthrough from 20-year-old Louis Colwill and 22-year-old Nicholas Jackson. The Blues are a highly unbalanced team. We have already mentioned that Bowley's spendings are based on a logic that only he understands. The lack of balance in the squad is certainly a problem, but for individual players, it presents an opportunity. Simply because there may be an excess of players in one position and not enough in another, resulting in more playing time for certain individuals. This is precisely the case for Colwill and Jackson. Let's start with the defender Colwill. After injuries of Fofana and Badiashile, the Englishman has played almost 100% of the time on the field in Premier League games. In the first 4 match days, he was used in the center alongside 2 other center backs, which is the most responsible position. In the 5th round, he moved to the left on the back 4, so he is also considered versatile in Pochettino's eyes. Colwill spent previous seasons on loan, and now he is being compared to Van Dijk, similar style, dominant in the air, and has a good first pass. Initially, he was brought back to be the part of the squad, but due to the squad problems, there is a chance he will spend the entire season in the starting lineup. And considering that experienced Thiago Silva is by his side to pass on the experience, Colwill could really grow into a star center back. Nicholas Jackson moved from Villarreal. He was bought for 37 million, even though the striker from Senegal has only had a few strong months in his career so far. In Spain, he suffered a long-term hip injury, then couldn't return to the starting lineup, then missed a game due to a red card, but starting from the 31st round of La Liga, he suddenly turned into a monster in the penalty area. 11 points in 8 games. He mainly scored goals, but he can also pass if needed. If Jackson can produce a similar period in his first season at Chelsea, it will be sensational. So far, he has only scored 3 goals, but he works hard, shows football intelligence, and is ready to play team football. That's why Pochettino makes no hesitation in betting on him. Even if Chelsea fails, Colwill and Jackson, in the absence of alternatives, will be significant players, and based on the season in the starting lineup of a big team, will be able to build their future careers. Two players who moved to the city of Milan in the summer opened the top 3. Christian Pulisic, who became a player of the club with the same name, and Davide Frattesi, loaned by Inter from Sassuolo with an obligation to buy. Pulisic has settled into Pioli's system, scoring in the first 2 games. He plays as the main right winger. The American is 24 years old. He is already at an age where he should contribute points to his team when attacking. Pulisic started doing just that, which is why he was named the club's best player in August. We hope that Christian avoids injuries and improves his scoring records. His best so far has been 13 points in the league. We will pay more attention to Frattesi for now. He is a 23-year-old central midfielder. He is a new hope for the Italian national team. In the last 2 matches for the Azzurri, he scored 3 goals and provided 1 assist. For those who haven't seen him, imagine Nico Barella. Davide is similar to him, a dynamic central midfielder who makes many runs and aggressively goes into tackles, but also runs forward. Frattesi is a versatile and very useful player, That's why many fought for him, and Inter must be very happy with this signing. Lazio's coach, Sarri, openly regretted not being able to coach the club's academy player. On paper, Frattesi should replace Brozovic, but they are completely different players. Davide plays more vertically, while the Croatian was more directed and set the pace. The Italian likes to press high, reads the opponent well, and closes the distance quickly, while Brozovic excelled in passive defense, providing cover for his teammates. In general, Inter will not be the same without the Croatian veteran. The team is evolving with Davide in the center. They will obviously pose an even greater threat to the opponent's goal. To be fair, in the first games for his new club, the newcomer came on as a sub, although he was already a starter for the national team. But Inter already has a great midfield, Mkhitaryan, Barella, Çalhanoğlu. Obviously, as the season progresses, Davide will become an important player in the squad. He may even replace someone in his starting lineup, and after displaying great performance in the derby against Milan, it can happen pretty soon. On the second place, we have Leverkusen's new sensation Victor Bonifacia. Bayer let go of their attacking leader, winger Diaby, earning 55 million from the sale. The new center forward, but for just 20 million, who was valued only at 12, unexpectedly turned out to be very good. So this swap, figuratively speaking, can already be considered a great success, as Bonifacia has got 6 points in goals and assists in the first 4 rounds. He was number 4 in the Bundesliga. The team has won 3 games and drew against Bayern, and everything is going well for Leverkusen. It is as if the sale of their key player never happened. The Nigerian center forward fits perfectly into the style of dominant football. Last season, Alonso lacked quality in this position due to Schick's chronic injuries. Bonifacia became the main beneficiary of the interesting attacking game set by Spanish coach. The Nigerian is a strong 190cm forward, but he's also well coordinated and technically equipped. He works with the ball on the ground as skillfully as in the air. He assists his teammates, he can play a long ball to him, and at the same time he can advance the ball himself, dribbling past several opponents. Bonifacia, while playing for Belgian Union, became the top scorer in the previous Europa League, but the wider audience didn't pay much attention to him. But now, at his new club, Victor is truly impressive. He has the most shots on target in elite European leagues, the most shots on target in the Bundesliga, second in successful dribbles, and third in ball advances into the penalty area. During the next Transfermarkt evaluation, he should dribble or triple in value. It seems that we are witnessing the rapid formation of a new top forward in the European football, as Bonifacia is just 22 years old. And the first place goes to Liverpool players. The team has undergone significant changes. Like Chelsea, they have faced some difficulties in restructuring certain positions. However, for a couple of players, the team transformation presents an opportunity to become leaders. In our opinion, Darwin Núñez and newcomer Dominik Szoboszlai have the potential to claim this role. We won't consider McAllister because he's overloaded with defensive work in the midfield, which may hinder his ability to showcase his best qualities. Let's start with Szoboszlai. He's already valued at 50 million. His name has been on the radar in the past couple of seasons. However, it is one thing to be a star in Austria or in the 3rd or 4th team in Germany, and another thing to perform in one of the 7 or 8 top clubs in the world. Dominik is capable of reaching the world-class level in the upcoming season. Contrary to concerns, Szoboszlai quickly fit into the Liverpool's playing structure. According to WhoScored's assessment, he ranks 3rd in the team. He plays excellently in pressing, creates triangles with his teammates, and moves all around the perimeter of the field. When watching Liverpool games, you feel like the Hungarian is everywhere. He receives the ball here and there. His involvement is incredible. He makes numerous bursts with and without the ball. Dominik is a central midfielder, an attacker, and situationally a right winger. He plays one of the most important roles in Klopp's team structure. One of the world's top coaches sees great potential in this 22-year-old player. Jurgen even thanked Liverpool's management in the press for signing Szoboszlai. The specialist knows how to use and develop this player. If everything goes as planned, Liverpool's Hungarian newcomer could become one of the world's best players. Darwin Núñez joined Liverpool a year ago and faced considerable criticism during the first season in England. Poor finishing is the first thing that catches the eye when it comes to the striker. It is particularly frustrating because it hasn't been always that way. He is not Morata, however, in his first season in the Premier League, he has scored 5 less goals than XG model has predicted. So if Núñez continues doing the same thing and his effort will be converted into goals, Darwin could potentially become another great forward of the Premier League. Not so as good as Haaland, but still decent. Núñez is comfortable in chaotic football. He likes being on his own and having to improvise. Due to restructuring and the desired transfers that didn't happen, Liverpool lacked structure this season. This is bad for the team, but beneficial for Núñez. It gives him a chance to occasionally showcase heroic football, make it into the highlights, and shake off the reputation of an unlucky striker he earned in his first season in England. Núñez has the potential to become the second most important person in Liverpool's attack after Salah. That's it for today. Write down below who we forgot to mention. Takumi Minamino should blow up at Monaco. Santiago Jimenez from Feyenoord is surpassing all expectations in terms of goals, and his club is playing in the Champions League. So I'm looking forward to your predictions in the comments. As usual, thanks for watching. Don't forget to press the like button and subscribe. See you soon. Now the ball.